Hey, what's the deal, family? So I've been finding myself watching a lot of these episodes of Surround. I think they're very intriguing to understand how people think from different perspectives of the world. This conversation is about I only date white men, so it's a conversation between black men and black men and black females. And just going through this conversation, let's just watch it, and I'm gonna give some of my 2 cents.
Stems back from our colonizers, which have put us against each other, and it makes it difficult for us to come together and be healthy in a relationship, if that makes sense.
For me personally, growing up mixed, just because I did grow up more so with my mom on the white side of my family, just when it came to dating experiences with black men, if anything, they would always tell me, "Oh, you're really white," or just really racial comments about how I'm mixed that makes me uncomfortable. Like at the end of the day, I'm black. I understand that I grew up predominantly on the white side of my family, but people don't see me on the street and think that's a white woman. Like
Right. They're gonna look at you as a black
yeah,
woman.
I'm a black woman.
And you're gonna go through the experiences that a black woman go through.
Yes, versus always bringing up that I have a white mama or I act a certain way because I grew up white. It's just, I'm me. I grew up how I grew up. And so if I am going to be in a relationship with a black man, I would like him to just not bring that up. But in my experience, that's been a constant conversation topic.
Can the disagreeers step forward now?
My mom, she was adopted by a white family. I mean, she's also half white. And my parents were divorced after a while, and so I spent a lot of time with her, and we did things that were white. Like I was in Boy Scouts, and we camped, and we did all these different things that just weren't quote unquote black. I was reminded that I talked like a white boy all the time. And, those sort of things, they can add strain. Is that me saying I wouldn't date a black girl? Of course not. Like, of course I try to. I date anybody, but I just think in practice, for whatever reason, circumstantially, it doesn't always happen all the time.
I grew up in a very white area as well, but I found that when I started dating, even though it was only white girls surrounding me, they didn't understand my identity. So I was just going to ask, like, did you or have you found that even though you were in those white situations, did you feel understood by the white women you were dating? Or misunderstood?
Define understood, I guess. I don't.
Are there things that you would express, maybe like politically or identity-wise, that they might be like, I don't really understand that?
I think it's hard for other races to completely understand what it's like being black and that experience. That's not to say that they can't be empathetic and sympathetic and understand and listen to you and learn things. But fundamentally, I just think a black woman is going to have a different perspective.
So I'm from St. Louis. I'm not from California. I'm not from LA. So I'm from a predominantly black area. And so growing up, there was only one white person in my class. And so I've only been exposed to our community. And to both of y'all's points, my mom is black, my dad is black, my family is predominantly black. So I've been around the black man my entire life. I have so much respect for the black man to where hearing a prompt say, I prefer to date outside my race, it kind of makes me think now, because I've never been exposed truly to the opposite end in such a depth way, to where I can look at another man from a different race and say, I wouldn't want to date you over a black man when I have had solely my experiences with them, good and bad. So whether I had that bad experience, it doesn't make me say, okay, I don't think I want to date black men anymore. I want to go and date a white man.
I believe, everybody's perspective is valid. But what I've taken away from this clip here is that your experiences shape your outlook on life. And so if you grew up in a predominantly white community, then you're going to favor predominantly white behavior. That's no diss to who you are as a person, your race, your ethnicity, but that's essentially what happens, right? If you grew up in a predominantly black city, your dialect, your mannerisms, everything will be modified to reflect where your environment and the experiences that you have. And so it's hard to generalize how we think about a lot of these conversations because there's so many nuances and different variations that people experience and none of our realities are the same. So it's going to be hard to dictate and pinpoint solutions for a large group of people when we're all having these microcosm experiences that reflect totally different outlooks in life and gives us totally different perspectives on life, right? And so I'm never a fan of general statements. I hate general statements because I just don't believe them to be true. But I understand everybody's perspective in this conversation here. Let's keep it going.
And they're gonna treat me better. I feel like as a man, you all should be treated as a species in itself. And you all have very intense ways of thinking. And
I
I
can go
feel,
both ways.
yeah.
I'm guilty of that. Hey, my wife will tell y'all I have a very, I don't want to say very intense, but I just, and matter of fact, this is just true across the board. Men and women just don't think alike. And again, you cannot make these general statements about people because we have two different outlooks. A man has a different outlook than a woman has a different outlook. And if you make these general statements about human beings, you'll find yourself incorrect because you can't relate to the other person. You only can try your best to understand.
True. So I don't think that it has too much to do with race in itself. We have to take a deeper dive into men.
Do you think sometimes that women or black women, since we're talking to black women, can sort of superimpose what they believe a black man should be?
That's fair.
Sure. I have to say sure, but I think it honestly just depends. I think this will totally get off topic if you really want me to dive deeper into it. Truthfully, because I know that as a black woman, you can see there's black men who are excelling. There's black men who treat their women right. There's black men who honor and respect black women. And then you have black men who, although you all didn't step forward, would say, I don't want a black woman. I watched my mom struggle. I don't like black hair. I don't like black women's attitude. I don't like how they speak. I don't like how they don't respect men. I don't like the fact that they are not subservient enough for me. Yeah. So I do believe that we're on the totem pole we want.
Is that a problem?
Hey, he said that he was thinking what I was thinking, like, what's the problem here?
Which one?
The black man that doesn't like any of the things that you just mentioned.
It's not a problem. I think it's a preference thing. I think that we've been dating the wrong people. You see that this woman is very loud and strong-willed. You know that you don't like that. Don't date her.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Because I come from a similar background with you two. I grew up in Memphis, but I'm from Chicago. And most women down there, you know, and most women in the South generally are masculine,
Really?
a little
Masculine.
too rough on the guy, you know.
In the South?
Yeah, he about to get chopped and screwed.
Like, I just want to know
Like-
specifically kind of what you mean.
Like instead of saying like nice hi, they're like what's up? What's up, my guy?
Okay.
It just seems a little more. It makes sense because it's a little more dangerous. So it's like their defense, you know, based on the prompt. Like
I understand what he's saying. I'm gonna just leave it at that, man. I understand what he's saying. I ain't got nothing to add to that.
disagree because I don't date based off race. I date based off who I attract, and I generally attract women outside of black women because of my characteristics, the way I live.
I prefer black women. I attract a lot of black women, but I'm open to dating all types of women. I have even in the past. But when I do date black women, I definitely date a specific type of black women, not the representation that we have on the East Coast. That statue, are you guys familiar with that by any chance? I find
I was in New York.
Yeah, is it in New York?
I think so.
Yeah.
Times Square of the
Yeah.
black lady.
I don't date. I mean, everyone knows that black woman. I find it that they can be very. It's almost like they try to be the man in the relationship, and there can only be one man in the relationship. And you know, when it comes to relationships, the man is always going to take the path of least resistance. And so, yeah, I usually date black women, but it wouldn't be that particular kind.
When you say that particular kind, because
Yeah, you got to be clear on that one, bro. That was vague. and I'm aware of the statues he's talking about. That is in New York. From what I remember, that's a heavy set woman with more natural hair. Um, yeah, I mean everybody got their own preference though, but you got to be more clear on that one, bro. Help us understand what you're saying.
That was just a statue. Can you go?
Well, but
in-
it's a representation, right? It's
But-
even.
It was just like we have an image here,
Mhm.
and this is the image, and you look at it. You don't know this woman. You've never had a conversation with this woman. You don't
Yeah, I
know
would
who
say that I
she
do know
is.
that woman.
From the looks of her.
Yeah, I would say that I know
So,
exactly.
Are
who
we
that
saying
probably
is.
because
doesn't take
let's
care
go
of
into it?
herself.
Are we saying because she's a
Health-wise.
dark skinned, heavy set black woman? Is that what you guys getting at? Because that's we don't have a visualization of who
Yeah,
she
that's
is.
the representation.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Okay.
I wouldn't date that particular kind of woman. And
Stereotypes
then when you
come into
start
play.
talking about weight and stuff in the black community, it can
Yeah.
be really sensitive for the women, but that does play into attraction.
That needs to be a conversation that we need to have, though.
We always have it, and they don't want to hear it.
Exactly.
Gotta be honest, ladies. That definitely plays into attraction. Weight definitely plays into attraction. Personal appearance definitely plays into attraction. I had this conversation with my wife about something, and was I delicate and was I mindful and was I intentional about the conversation? Absolutely. I didn't just tell her what she needed to do and do it because I needed her to do it. But it was a conversation that I communicated to her what I believe is requisite for a long-standing relationship. When I say long-standing, I'm talking about forever. How do we have a forever relationship that lasts forever throughout struggles and challenges and obstacles? And one of my I don't want to say non-negotiables, but one of my recommendations was that, hey, I would like for us to have a physical gym routine, and maybe it's not the gym, but I just want us to have a physical routine or regimen that we do on a daily basis that keeps us in physical shape, because I want to constantly desire you, and I'm already attracted to you, and I love you dearly, but I want to stay that way because guess what? I understand that one day we will have kids, and I understand that has implications and impacts to your body. And so I'm mindful, not to say that I'll, at the first sign of anything that doesn't look like how I used to look, I'm running out the door. But no, I just want to effectively communicate to my wife the things that I desire. And I would expect her to do the same, because I don't expect her to want me to look like a slouch and start dressing like a bum and think that she's still going to be attracted to me. And I think that these conversations are important to have with your significant other, because it allows them to have insight to the things that you desire. So when these things come up, so when these things happen, which they will, life will happen where, it won't all be peaches and cream. You can at least go back and revisit the conversation and say, hey, at least my significant other had enough intentionality to have this conversation with me prior to this happening. So now I know how to make a decision in this circumstance that would allow us to stay within one union versus us having any challenges or obstacles. And so just stay communicating with your significant other, and I think that that's going to go a long way.
Like Lizzo. Body positivity.
Right.
I mean, she's
Try telling a black woman about her
Accountability is what I know.
Yes, I agree. Accountability, major accountability.
Yeah.
You said you date people that you attract. I think that's really important that you said that. Because at the end of the day, like, we can talk about who our preferences are, whatever. You can only date who wants to date you. At the end of the day.
That's it. That's really it. You only can date who want to date you. Everybody else is playing games.
Which is why I asked the question about superimposing what you think a black man should be onto a black person. I feel like a lot of the qualities I bring to the table, other races seem to appreciate and value a little bit more.
What qualities are they?
Yeah, what qualities?
Okay, so I've heard a bunch of times growing up, like, oh, like, I want, like, a thug, for instance. And I understand, like, that's stereotypical.
That's major.
It is major, even in California now.
That's
And,
major,
like,
yeah,
it's like, I guess I kind of understand what some of the appeal of that might be, I suppose. But at the same time, like, if we're trying to, like, build a healthy community, why are we prioritizing that?
That bores
For
a
some
lot.
reason.
That bores a lot of women in the black community.
But that's my
When you
point.
start
Like,
talking
yeah.
about positive things and stuff like that, they want somebody that's going to be destructive generally.
I disagree.
I don't disagree at all.
I
I've seen
disagree.
so many black women that say they want thugs, they want the gangster type, they feel protected. So much so
You
to the
gotta
point
have
to
a
where,
gun.
yeah, they like the emotional highs and
I've experienced that, but I believe that that is a particular type of woman that grew up in a particular environment. Um, I had something else I wanted to say to this brother's comment. Oh, what I take my takeaway when women say they want a thug, right? And I don't think everybody says those words, right? But what it's saying is that they want to feel secure and protected. Because that's one thing that I've experienced in my relationship with my wife is that um, she wants security. She want to know she is safe, sound, and protected, and that she is someplace that is going to be fruitful, where she can get grounded, where she can start to grow roots, and then we can grow this nice, beautiful family together. And so that's what I hear when women talk about protection or thug. They're looking for security, bro. They're looking for surety, consistency. And I can't really speak about the thug mentality. I'm gonna say that that's definitely probably that's something that's out there. But I don't want to generalize. But from what I've heard, women talk about that thug mentality and security. They just want to be protected and feel, this like this is a place where they can stay rooted in.
clothes is like sex in and of itself to her. I've seen women like this where I've seen men give them STDs and they're still banging on his door like, I love you. I'm like, who's really the fool here, you know?
But are
Not
thugs
me.
the only ones that are giving out STDs? Is that what we're saying? And
Majority.
I have to majority.
Majority.
Oh, you're talking to a public health background right now. Let me
My
let me
bad.
tell you. It is not
Well, I agree.
thugs. There is no line that says I am a thug. There are white men, black men, Puerto Rican men, I'm sorry, Hispanic, and in general, there's no percentage that says only thugs are giving the most STDs out. I'll tell you one thing: black women, heterosexual black women, are the most high at risk for HIV right now, and it's not just from black men; it's from all men. That's why I want us to really dive deep into that. And then you're speaking of a community saying they only want thugs. I think education
Mostly.
plays a major role in that, because if you're an educated woman, I'm an educated black woman from the trenches. Have you all heard that term? The
We wouldn't be
trenches.
talking to you then.
No.
Yep, that's what I was saying. That's a particular type of woman. My man's, and I gotta start remembering names. My man's with the beard said about those kind of women. She's right. That's a particular type of woman, and most of the time, it's not that educated woman that is sophisticated enough to be able to think above that.
You wouldn't be the archetype.
No,
But there
of
is a
course.
large majority of black women.
Like,
that
where are
would-
the studies
Yes.
coming from?
Where are the studies coming
Yeah.
from? The numbers.
Okay.
The CDC, WHO,
Like specific
Local-
city, state?
nationally.
Okay.
Nationally.
Can I just say something? I think we also need to look at what you said earlier, our environment. Why are we being
Yeah, it's mean.
quote unquote hostile? Why do we have these masculine features? It's because we're put into these situations where we have to be a certain way or evoke certain characteristics. And although like certain things are portrayed online heavily, like, oh, black women want to be like sexy red, black women want to be sexualized. So kind of something that we should all look at is taking assumptions out of the window, because there are a lot of assumptions being brought up. So like for you
Agreed.
talking to right now, you're not talking to a heavy representation. Obviously, you're speaking with people who are heavily educated right now. So kind of consider that and notice that, you're not always going to find a black woman that is ghetto. You could also find a very smart black woman. You're not always going to find a smart white girl. You could find a very ghetto white girl. And stereotypes are very important in conversations like this because we need to throw them out the window.
Black men are intimidated by successful black women.
It's good that you're being real with yourself, though. That's important.
Whoa, wait. Okay. I will say, like, sometimes, I'm not going to say all black men are, but I know I've heard from plenty of my friends and plenty of older women that I know who are kind of successful, and they're like, yeah, it's really hard to date because men will be like, oh, you make more money than me or something.
You guys like to say that we shouldn't compare, as women, we shouldn't compare ourselves to men because we'll never be the same as you guys. But you guys do that with us. Compare yourselves to us. Like, I don't make as much as her, or I don't have all the degrees that she has.
I don't know if it's the same kind of comparison we're talking about, right? So I think a lot of the time when people are saying women shouldn't compare themselves to men, is women shouldn't try to be men versus men comparing themselves to women. It's more like, am I fulfilling that traditional masculine role that's kind of expected? Now, we can have the conversation as to whether or not that's still apt for our time or not, whether that's still relevant. I would say it is, just because it seems like people seem to appreciate, at least from my perspective, women seem to appreciate men who make more than them still.
Intimidation is a form of insecurity. So that stems from lack of communication and not dating someone on your level. Not you specifically, but if the person isn't dating someone on their level, there needs to be that communication, because obviously that person is with you for other reasons.
I don't want to make the broad statement that it's all black men, because it's not. It's specifically black men that, for whatever reason in their own life, they're not happy with where they are at. They have some sort of insecurity. Maybe it's career insecurity, financial insecurity. So if they're with that archetypal strong black woman, in my experience, instead of being like, oh, like, that's awesome, you have a degree in this, you got this job, you did this, they're like, okay, big mama, you got money, big mama. I'm like, what the hell? Or like, I've even had experiences where they were.
That goes back to my previous comment that the dude made about generalizing a certain kind of woman that wants a thug. They're generalizing a certain kind of man that cannot appreciate a woman that has achieved or attained a higher level of success than them, and that's usually someone that is probably uneducated and as sophisticated as them. And so it's again just general statements, and I understand this is a conversation, that they're having a general conversation, but that's just one particular group of people that more than likely she has came into interactions with more than the other, and so she has now deemed that this is her reality, that most men are intimidated by a successful black woman.
Like, basically slut shaming me, talking down to me because I got a better job, or I lost weight and people started noticing that, so now I was a whore. But in my experience, if I've been with a black man who, he is successful, he has a job that he likes, he's pursuing his hobbies, he has X, Y, and Z.
That's right.
Comments like that are never made because
That's
he's not
supporting you.
Yeah, he's not internalizing your success as his failure.
Yeah.
Met that across all men. They just feel intimidated when you are.
I understand why that is correlated to a level of success or wealth. I think that's more correlated to character, insecurity in who you are, because money only amplifies who you truly are internally. So if you a scumbag, money only gonna make you a bigger scumbag.
Are successful. And in my experience too, I do tend to be more of a dominant black woman, and I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's totally okay, but it does scare some men.
Does it make you feel like you shouldn't lead with, because I used to be the type of person, I would lead with like all my accomplishments or my businesses. I would lead with that, thinking that, oh, he might like me even more because this is what I do, or. So now it's just like, I don't like to share anything when I'm dating. Like, I don't do anything. I just sit at home.
What I've had to learn is, because I used to diminish myself a lot.
Yeah.
When at the end of the day, I want something that's real. I want someone who's gonna love me for me and all that encompasses that. So I'm gonna be unapologetically 100% me. I'm loud, I talk my shit, I speak my mind. And if you don't like that, then you're not for me.
That's right.
That is bad advice. That is bad dating advice. And I don't think she was just giving dating advice to everybody else. She was just saying who she is. What you'll find in dating, and definitely in marriage, is that there will constantly be, what's the word I'm looking for, compromise. And there will constantly be modifications needed to be made on both sides of the table. And if you stand your ground and stay rooted in whoever you are and don't want to change, I think that is a recipe for disaster.
I think that this specific prompt goes back to the original prompt. Men who prefer to date women outside of their race. I believe that it's not really a race thing, it's a class thing. And I honestly believe that if I'm a Black woman and you already view me as a stereotypical Black woman, loud, disrespectful, I don't respect Black men, if you view me as that way, on top of me being successful. See, I don't have to be more successful than you. Sometimes men, specifically Black men, believe that you don't need to have so much confidence in yourself. I feel like you are competing with me.
Yes.
My success does not revolve around your success. We should want to be successful together, which leads back to that specific detail about creating a healthy relationship, a healthy Black successful relationship. And I believe that Black men view women who are very confident. I'm very confident in myself. I don't disrespect you. I respect you so much, but I respect myself more. And I think that men have a hard time toting that line of keeping my masculinity and upraising your femininity.
I think there's definitely some validity in that. I think however people decide to arrange like their marriage and their relationships, I think is totally up to them. Like whatever roles you choose, that's up to you. If that works, it's healthy, you should do that. I wanted to unpack the on your level thing that you said. So what does that mean?
My femininity?
On your level.
Whether that's financially, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, anything, or all of the above. Someone who you feel you resonate well with, no insecurities. I feel like, I don't know, did that answer your question?
Yeah. I guess for the purpose of this conversation.
I should have researched this at the beginning, but I wonder if anybody on this panel is married. And based off of their communication, and this is a high probable statement I'm gonna make. It ain't factual, but it's a high probable statement. I don't think none of these people married because the language is speaking individualism.
Want y'all's opinions on this? Do you think Black women generally would?
So I'm saying that, and I mean to cut you off, bro. I'm saying that because the people that are listening to this, we have to be mindful to filter information and where it's coming from. Although this is a credible site, and I'm a fan of Jubilee and their platform, the Surround platform, we have to be mindful of filtering. It's on us to be mindful that we're filtering information and making sure it's coming from people that we want to emulate.
Date or marry a man who wasn't financially or had no prospects of being financially, socioeconomically on their level.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
See it every day.
Literally.
Every single day.
I wonder why the perception isn't that then. Like I wonder where that comes from then. Like the majority, and I'm sure maybe someone will agree with me, they walk over here. Because necessarily you're not going, Black women are educated right now. Like necessarily you are not going to probably find a Black man who is on your level. Like it's just, the numbers are not there. So a lot of Black men might feel like, okay, you might
bro.
just be settling because we're here now.
Back
Would
me
you
up.
be dating me if it weren't somebody else?
You know, I think that's actually really interesting that you mentioned that because it's something that is socially imposed. And I think a lot of men, not just Black men, but men in general, seek social validation from their peers. And so when other men look at each other, they're like, okay, well, what are you doing for work? Are you making more money than me? You know, obviously they're more competitive with each other. And then obviously that brings competitiveness within the relationship, which is something that shouldn't be the case, but it is in a lot of situations.
The only reason I disagreed with the prompt is just because I agree with everything you guys are saying, but personally, because my mum, who's Black, she was always very successful. So I've never felt intimidated by success, but I agree with what you were saying, that I think that in my experience, if you aren't perceived to be on the financial level of a woman, then she'll just look past you straight away. I'm a musician, so we know that we're not going to be financially successful until it hits. So I'm always more like, see my potential. I think there are a lot of people who don't acknowledge potential. They're just
Yeah.
like, you need money now,
Yeah, that's
and
me.
that's all I'm going for.
That's me. I don't see potential.
I agree. I'm 26.
Appreciate
I'm
the honesty.
There's so much potential that honestly.
I get that statement. I get that statement, and she not wrong about that because um, if you marry for intentional and for potential, then what happens is that there could be some resentment when that person doesn't meet your expectations of what you thought they could be. And so when you marry in, you should just marry the person for who they are. And if they change, if they modify, if they, get better, excel, then that's a cherry on top. But you should be content with who that person is when you get with them, because if you marry potential, you're gonna be upset because most of the time that potential it may not pan out to what you think the potential should be. Now you set this false expectations on your spouse, and now they feel like they need to achieve what your expectations were, or you never communicated to them, and so they find themselves in a situation where there's constantly disagreement, there's constantly um, tension within the relationship because you feel as if I not holding up my end of the bargain, and I didn't even know I had the end to hold up. So I agree with her around you can't really get with somebody for potential.
When I first see you and you are not economically secure, I'm not looking at you. I don't have intentions on being the breadwinner. But that being a breadwinner and being successful are two different things to me.
Can we have to disagree a step forward? We'd
No.
love to hear
Yeah,
from
so I
you.
strongly disagree. No man is intimidated by any woman because of her credentials. That's not the case. It's usually the character and traits that come with that. They usually have extremely high egos, and you can't tell them anything. And they usually
I like Bryson. I just gotta agree with him on that. Everything he said on that, yes, that's kind of how I look at it as well too. Never been intimidated by a black woman. It's just the other stuff that come with it that make you like, nah, I'd rather go do something else.
come off extremely masculine. Like what you said. You said you can be masculine, and it might be too much for men. It's an attraction thing. Men are not attracted to masculine traits in women. That's what it is.
I don't think that's necessarily true because someone who, for example, I've known men who were intimidated and jealous because I had a college degree and they did not. It's not just the trait that came with that. It was I have a diploma, they did not. It's not just my quote unquote masculine traits that was a turnoff.
I would say that might be unique to him, but generally, it's the traits that come with it. It's not the degree. It's the traits. This
Let me know in the comments, y'all, if y'all agree with Bryson on this one. You know, I really want to see, and maybe women, y'all can get something from this and maybe gain from perspective, because I'm not a believer that I could speak for women as a man, because I don't have a woman's experience, but I can speak from a man's experience and perspective around this scenario. And I do agree with Bryson. So let me know in the comments, y'all, what y'all think about Bryson comments. And ladies, just tune in. You ain't got to say nothing. Just tune in to see if you can pick up some game and figure out how to incorporate that to who you are and make some changes and some adjustments. And hopefully you can get what you want out of this scenario.
idea of dating down and dating on your level stems from women. When men have money, they don't view it as dating down when they're with their women. You guys say that, not men. If a man has money and he's taking care of a woman, there's no point that he thinks he's dating down. He's just taking care of his woman.
I think it's dangerous for a woman to date down because we see it all the time. Men.
You guys all said that you would. You guys all said that you would date someone that made less than you, and then you said that you did.
I didn't respond because
I
I
didn't
think
say
that
that. I never.
I thought they said. Then they all
I
switched.
sworn one of
We didn't
y'all. I thought
say
that's what
that.
y'all said.
No, we didn't see potential. I don't see potential.
not guaranteed.
Yeah, I appreciate economic security. That's all I want. If
Oh, we
you are
know
secure
that,
as a man,
What if you're in a field where like you're still studying, or it's something that you know that the payoff isn't immediate?
I wouldn't view that as potential though. I mean, okay, you can, but honestly, if someone says, I'm going to school for psychology, when you graduate, if you want to become a psychologist, I know that you have to go and get a master's degree. 9 times out of 10, you have to go and get a doctorate degree to become a big breadwinner. Okay. I know that eventually you're leaving from that field of study and you are in the works of going and becoming economically secure. See, that's not potential to me. You are a musician, yes. And so you make money.
Yeah.
If you take on one extra person and they lose their job, do you think that you'll be able to carry you all's household?
Soon.
Soon. Okay, so myself listening to you, as I stated, if I talk to you as a friend, because that's how dating starts, I'm listening to you, and if you have enough charisma, I'll look at you and I'll say, okay, this is a man who I think will eventually become economically secure for us. See, I want to date someone who is economically secure for himself first. So that's what I'm thinking about
I'm gonna
potential.
be honest, I don't believe any of this.
You don't
I think
believe
it
any of
just comes
this?
straight to the superficial stuff.
Superficial.
I mean, we live in a
Right,
superficial
cut it.
society. Women only want the men with money.
Oh man, we got an ad, y'all. My bad.
EVE Online is a vast universe.
Skip that.
Yeah, as they should.
Thank you.
But
Let's just cut the BS. It's about money.
Yeah, it is. That should be the number
Yeah.
one thing when you're dating. That should be the first thing that
Why?
you. One of the
Materialism should
things.
be the number one
It's
thing.
not. It's not just
materialism.
materialism. It's
Yeah,
that
but it
I,
is materialism.
as
so
a
many
woman,
assholes with
as
money.
as a woman, we
That's
need
what
to
I'm saying.
know.
It's not just about money,
I
but I
think
do
it is.
agree.
It
It's
is
not.
just
It's
about money.
not.
There's just a lot of
Money
BS.
should be the number one thing that one of the top things that a woman should look at when she's dating.
It is the main
Look,
topic.
Are
It
you
is.
saying
It
what-
should be.
Are you saying one of or the most important?
The most important, yes.
I partially disagree because I think there are kind of like we mentioned earlier, there are preferences. If you find someone that is interested in a certain characteristic that you have, perfect, great for you. And so we have these assumptions that, oh, all women are superficial. That is not the case. Absolutely.
Most.
Majority.
Okay, well,
Yes, yes,
that is.
yes.
That's what the numbers
Maybe
I don't
what
care
you-
about words. I care about actions. The actions say that women are superficial.
Maybe what you encountered, that may possibly
I
be the
think
case.
there will be a lot of men. that would agree
However,
with me.
can you let me finish?
Yes.
Okay. Historically, if we look at the role of a man and we look at the role of a woman, that is what is proposed societally to us. And maybe it comes down to security. That is a very,
Yes.
very important thing
Security.
within
Yes.
a relationship, within a community, within a society. Security is important. At the end of the day, you need money to put food on the table. Whether you're by yourself, whether you're in a relationship, whether you
Right.
have kids, right? Is that a concern?
My thing is, if you're
Yes.
dating someone strict,
Here's another one of those individualism comments that, again, just makes me understand that nobody on this panel is married, because it takes a team. And if you're reliant on one person's income to be able to provide for the family, then I think that can be a challenge. I think that, and everybody household is different, and it dictates whatever you dictate your marriage and family dynamics to be, then that's really on you, right? But the comment I wanted to really say is that men have this notion of waiting, to find the woman once they get the bag, or once they get the money, or once they get the things that they've been trying to achieve in life, so they then can get the woman and fit her into that picture. Women want to be with the man that has that, right? And so you have this dynamic of two people not getting with each other only for the simple fact that I don't have enough money to get with you, and he doesn't have enough money for me to get with him. I think that is a terrible approach. The approach in which I didn't hear in none of this conversation just yet, right? We're gonna see. But I don't hear nobody talking about God in this. Nobody has brought up God in decision making, which I believe is just the ultimate decision making when you're picking a spouse. What is their relationship with God? Because that's ultimately determines a lot of different things. Character, belief system, how they treat God is a recipe of how they're gonna treat you, how they're gonna raise your kids. There are so many different things to factor in outside of money that can't even be discussed. But when you have God at the center of that, it encompasses a lot of that, because God teaches us these fundamentals about life, money, parenting, building wealth, wisdom, friends, family, how to handle challenging situations, friends, family, deaths. And so for me, God is at the top, and God has allowed me to make decisions for my family and for my future to pick a wife that aligns with His will and His way, and everything else just fall into place because I started with God first.
For money. I don't want to hear you getting angry about him sleeping around or him doing whatever.
The
If
men
you
with
marry
no
him-
money do the
Cheat.
same thing.
That's a species topic we're talking about.
Men with no money
And then
have
we
less
say-
options to do that.
And more time.
My point, what I'm saying,
But
like,
do the men with no money really have the option
What is it,
to
man?
sleep around with a lot of women?
Yes.
Yes, we
They
see it all
do.
the time.
Because it's a lot of women who
That's
have
right.
less money than no money.
No,
And
that's
if
right.
you are a man who has no money, but you're with a woman who has money, you have money. Because that's how women are.
That also goes back into validation. With you guys saying that's a bad man if he doesn't have X, Y, Z, then you also need to look at why does a man need to be emasculated for not being where he wants to be.
And if you're a wealthy man and you want other women, get into a polygamous relationship. You do not have to cheat.
But it's kind of like common sense in modern times that men at the top 10% that most women want are generally like that and have options. And they're not going to settle for just one woman.
So why portray as if you want one woman?
Who
I don't
said
think they do.
portray? Who says
I
they
don't think
portray
do.
as they want one
It's
woman?
not a secret.
Most men go to that level
Specifically.
just so they can get the
It's a complete double standard, but I think it is the reality. I think men want the idea of this woman is only having sex with me because men.
Territorial.
Yeah,
Dominant.
exactly. Yeah, again, this is a double standard, not excusing this, but you know, the amount of men who are obsessed with a woman being a virgin, but also wanting them to be this like sexual dominatrix as well, complete idiocy. But yeah, I think unfortunately, men would rather know that their women are only sleeping with them, but then they are happy to give it out wherever.
I disagree. I think men just want, obviously they want their women to only be sexual with them, not with other men. And I don't think that's stupid or
FYI, it's not a men thing, it's a God thing. That's how God designed it, bro. Don't put that on us. Talk to the big man about that. Read the Bible. It's a ton of stories about kings that have tons of wives, concubines, and the wives don't. That's not how it's designed, right? It's designed, and you don't have to do this, right? You don't have to be the king that has multiple wives. There were kings that had one wife. There were kings that had two wives. There was kings that had multiple wives. You know, if God put that on your heart to do so, then you do it, right? Because He told us to be fruitful and multiply, and He told us to have dominion over this world. And so, this ain't a guy thing, right? It's the order and way that God has designed it from the inception of human beings for us to be, you know, this way, the same way women are nurturers. Like that's the way it's been designed for years. And don't try to we don't blame women being nurturers on them and it's their fault. It's just the way things are, right? And we gotta just be okay that somebody, right? If you're not a believer in God, somebody designed this world. Period, point blank. And if somebody designed it, that means that there was a reason, a mission, a why, a vision of everything in this world. And so you gotta be, it's just like the Matrix. You gotta follow the code. You gotta follow the guidelines that have been set for you. Because again, somebody created this world.
idiotic in any way.
Well, I just think it's a double standard because if we expect ourselves to be able to put it out anywhere, then I think it would be fair.
There's a
It
reason
depends
why.
the person, depends the kind of guy you're talking about.
There's a reason why
Same
women
about
can
women.
get pregnant by one man every 9 months, but a man can get multiple women pregnant.
Oh,
all
of
at
course,
once.
yeah. Evolution-wise, yeah, we want to throw it everywhere we can, but I think for modern relationships, that doesn't necessarily work.
I just wonder, do most women want to sleep with multiple people the way most men want to sleep with multiple people? I think,
Now
do they want to say
I would say yes. They do it.
I just think that men, a lot of guys intrinsically, when they have more options, they want to exercise them versus I think
Hey, bro asked the questions, don't nobody else want to ask. He don't care. He liked it.
A lot of women, a lot of time, when they're committed to one person, would rather just be with that one person.
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in months.
Yeah, someone crashed into my car and I couldn't move all my limbs for a while, but I'm all.
OnlyFans and hookup culture have ruined modern dating.
I would say that it has really completely destroyed dating and relationships. It's really sad, but it has definitely watered down a lot of things too. I'm seeing that, women they're waiting to turn 18 and then hopping on OnlyFans, that's really just a reflection of how the culture is. I think it shows a really bad reflection on how the culture is. And it's really sad in my personal opinion. I think it's disgusting.
My last long-term relationship, which is also why I've been single as long as I have been, he was subscribing to OnlyFans girls. Because porn's one thing. It's like, I see it as it's a scenario based, it's general. You're not looking up a specific girl versus you're following a specific girl while you're in a relationship as well. Paying for it, logging into her live cams. Like this, that's a whole thing. And it's not counted as cheating in a lot of men's eyes because you're not physically touching anybody, but you might as well be. It's a fantasy. Unfortunately, one of the first things I do when I go on a first date, I am going to look at who you're following, because on Instagram, it's public. If I see a guy is following all these like big booty Latina, ass, we got a problem, shut it down.
You're not supposed to have this much access to these sexual women in general. In a relationship, it's really hard when you have so much access, easy access to link and meet up with the people who do OnlyFans, who are on Instagram showing ass. And I do want to kind of side with men on this. I don't have a problem with men liking other women's pictures and following women on Instagram solely. I'm in a relationship. Finding that common ground is important, but I just feel like, no, I'm not going to make you unfollow all these women from social media, because you have to be strong whether you see them in person or you see them on the streets.
Do you guys think you could date someone who has, for you guys as well,
All right, let's break it down real quick. I just got a quick couple of scriptures I want to get to this comment specifically, and this is why porn and masturbation, OnlyFans is terrible. And I'm gonna just go to these scriptures real quick. Exodus 20:17. You should not cover your neighbor's house. You should not cover your neighbor's wife, or his male or female servants, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. When you're watching people and lusting over them and coveting them and desiring them, you're actually coveting them, and that is a sin. You should not be doing that. So that's why we got to get rid of the porn. We got to get rid of the OnlyFans. And I'm gonna just leave y'all with one more scripture. Proverbs 6:25. Do not lust in your heart after her beauty, or let her captivate you with her eyes. Men, we got to do better at this. I feel short at this plenty of times. I'm on the other side of it though, and it could be a challenge, especially when you come from a lifestyle that allows you to have a plethora of women at your disposal. And I don't condone that type of behavior. I would never condone that type of behavior for my son or my daughters. But I just wanted to tie what the lady was speaking about to scripture, is that we should not even be watching that type of stuff. Like there should be no exceptions for OnlyFans, pornography, anything that allows us to lust after another man's possession or covet something that is not ours. That's a sin.
Think you could date someone who has OnlyFans and is successful?
No.
What do they do?
Depends.
I don't know. Okay, let's start off with they just post pictures. They don't have sex with anyone.
What kind of pictures?
Naked pictures.
No.
What about feet pictures?
Okay, feet pictures. That's cool.
If you're posting some foot pictures, whatever, man, go get it.
Because we're talking about OnlyFans from the subscriber perspective. I always wonder, what if you met someone who you're like, she's really cool, great personality, very attractive, but her job is OnlyFans.
You'd be setting yourself up for failure.
That's right.
Why do you think so?
Look at her character. You don't think she's gonna not cheat on you?
I don't know.
I don't think
$1
it
million
means-
subscriber.
I don't-
Major red
I got
flag.
you a Rolls Royce.
Major red flag.
Not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily mean, though, if you're an OnlyFans creator, that you would cheat. It depends. It's all circumstantial, and it's like it depends. If she's sleeping with other people, I'm still talking. If she's sleeping with other people, I mean, yeah, then she's sleeping with other people on camera. But most of the OnlyFans creators that I've heard about, all their content is by themselves. So I don't think it. Again, I don't think it directly means being an OnlyFans creator would mean you're gonna cheat.
In the sense of someone who's posting pictures, she may not have just had someone in her life tell her like, "Hey, you should want to keep that for yourself."
Would she
And
listen?
who?
Would she listen to that?
Well, she-
Man, she gonna cheat. If she ain't keeping it for herself, she gonna cheat, bro. There's a all right. We ain't gotta say 100%, but there's a high probability. You get with that OnlyFans woman, you get with that stripper, you get with anybody that's in that type of industry or conducts themselves in that way, she will cheat, bro. You just setting yourself up for failure. And I don't think it's a wise thing to be setting ourselves up for failure. So if I was you, I would avoid those kind of women at all costs because you just do not want to put yourself in a circumstance that allow that to happen to you when the writing is on the wall, right? Don't be confused and think that a woman that is willing to, even if she's not having sex with people on camera, a woman that is willing to show her fleshly body naked to other individuals for money as a transaction wouldn't conduct themselves in any other bad behavior to do other things outside of money or with money, right? So don't be confused, fellas. Like I know the ladies, you know, women power, y'all gonna support each other, but no, do not fall for that.
She listen. I mean, I grew up hearing that. I'm not on OnlyFans, and we're speaking about me, but I'm just saying in general. Some women who are in the sex culture, who are in pornography, there's the disconnect between self and
I know a lot of
sexuality.
women in that culture.
Do you think that feminism played a role in any of this?
I mean, the liberation of like
Women.
free choice, do what you
Yes.
want.
Get
You
back
shouldn't
at
face
men.
repercussion. I mean, I wouldn't say get back at men per se, but I think it's.
But that's dangerous to say. That's what feminism
It's not
is
about
about, and where it stems
Pretty
from.
much is today. It's pretty much they just want to be able to do whatever they want and have no consequences to their actions.
I think that's an umbrella.
Yeah, I feel like you cite a lot of things too that don't really have
She tied
backing as
him.
well, and you make a lot of broad statements.
They're true though.
I think feminism maybe played a part in it, but I don't think it's the reason
Sick of
why
him.
women are on OnlyFans.
I agree.
Right?
I think it's
I think it plays a big role.
No, it does. It does. I mean,
Women
this
wanting independence, OnlyFans being the
Yeah,
easy way
no,
out.
no, I agree. It's this whole idea that
10K
like
a month. Tell me
again,
you're
sexual revolution, capitalism. You know, it's the fastest way to make money. Basically, prostitution is the
Right.
oldest profession. I, think
Yeah, I was just
when-
about to solely because you brought up prostitution, but before now, women weren't allowed to have bank accounts. If you did not have a husband or a man taking care of you, what were you left with? I don't think that it's because of feminism.
Yeah.
We have to be very careful with how we're speaking about that term. Although I know that there's a lot of controversial things about feminism, but I don't believe that OnlyFans is a result of feminism.
Yeah, I wasn't saying as a result. I was saying like it plays a majority.
Yeah,
of-
definitely.
But if
stems
if
from a big
prostitution
role.
is the oldest job in the world, then it predates,
It predates feminism.
So I would say, to your point, it is because social media has become such a way to earn money quickly that then prostitution has just evolved.
I would say that's all of that. I would say
Yeah.
it's a combination of all of that, not just one or the other, but both.
prostitution, I think before it was still kind of taboo. I don't know if OnlyFans is as taboo as like a traditional prostitute. When COVID started, I think like the amount of girls I knew who were just regular girls, like, oh, join my OnlyFans.
Hard times may leave you on the street.
Teachers,
Survival mode.
Yeah, survive. You know, honestly, it's just honestly, it was very dangerous to be a prostitute during COVID. And so, all right, we're going to try to do something that's.
Wait, so to get out of survival mode, shouldn't we be finding ways to get together so there's two incomes and not one?
But you just said you wouldn't want to be with a woman that.
So maybe,
Is in survival mode.
like, you know, don't join OnlyFans, but find someone to, you know,
lower your standards. Like
find someone
They're
to
not
get
going to
with.
lower their standards.
like
They shouldn't have to though.
You don't have to. No, you don't.
I mean, I wasn't talking about standards. I was just saying like perception's reality. And then when you see a bunch of people that just kind of see just the girl down the street starting an OnlyFans and it probably doesn't go anywhere, but now like you've made this life decision and now everyone saw that, just makes you wonder where we are as a society.
Everything now is just oversharing
Yeah.
in this culture. So I think again, it's just like a natural, like, you know, people share every single sexual story. People share every single like whatever thing. So I think people are like, well, I'll just share my body because that's the same as a story.
But do you guys feel like men play a role in women getting online and showing their body off?
Yes.
There's a market for it.
100%.
We play a role in what you do with your bodies?
You buy it.
We should take accountability of the fact that there are lonely men that are creating a market for this. Like, we can't complain about something that exists if there is a market for it. That said, though, I don't think.
No, we both responsible. We both responsible. Men and women. We are both responsible for the outcomes of our culture. We got to take accountability on both sides. If you buying it, you responsible. If you selling it, you responsible.
I think we should take accountability for the fact that the men are lonely.
I have felt more judged by Black people than any other race.
If you're a man who makes at least $150K a year and you feel self-conscious about your gut sticking out, I'll get you shredded.
I can say I felt more judged by Black people because I grew up inner city, then I moved from the inner city to the suburbs. And so when I would come around like my Black family or Black friends from the
Dang, I'm just looking at all the women showed up. I'm interested to see what they got to say, but I just took a quick snapshot of all the women felt more judged by Black people than other race, and only 1 out of the 4 men, only 25% of the men felt like he was judged. It's gonna get interesting.
city, they would be like, oh, you talk white, or oh, you act white, or if I say I want to go swimming today, oh, Black people don't go swimming. You know, they would like make comments that would just make me feel like super like, damn, like judged.
I experienced that a lot when I first moved to Memphis from Chicago at 5. Throughout all my life, I was always the different kid. In school, they would say you talk white, and it still continues. Like, people see me, my friends back home in Memphis, they see me surfing and stuff. They see me doing things that you don't usually see Black people doing, and they say you trying to be white, when really I'm just trying to explore life.
Right, because I'm like, what does it even mean to be like, oh, you talk white?
Speaking like a normal art.
Hold on, wait a second. What's she doing? Why she in the back now? She must have heard me talking.
Particular person.
Exactly. I think it comes from the stereotype that Black people are uneducated. So when you sound articulate, you sound educated. They're like, damn, because I get that all the time. I went to a white private school, half of middle school, high school, all of college. It sucked to be in predominantly white communities where even the Black people were saying the same thing as the white people to you.
It takes a real toll on you because when people were telling me that, like saying you talk white, I would try to change the way I talk and try to fit in. And I was speaking ghetto, that Memphis accent, you heard me? I was talking.
And that's not normally how you talk.
And luckily, I got rid of it and went back to speaking the way I really was.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's like crabs in a barrel mentality.
Definitely.
And it's kind of like, okay, what can we relate over? And that is the struggle within the Black community. There is certain like experiences in which we find commonality or common ground. And when we see someone with a more established upbringing, like you guys were mentioning, like if someone goes to private school, I went to private schools, you know, or it's your whitewash. Why do we associate success or being knowledgeable or speaking a certain way with being white?
To hold ourselves accountable within the Black community would be to stop judging each other on our level of quote unquote Blackness, because that is where I do think the issue is stemming from. And I think within our community, if we're telling me, oh, you're an Oreo, because like, really? No, I'm educated. We need to stop talking down to each other because we have those qualities. It's not a bad thing to be articulate.
I think that's the majority. And we're the minority, sadly. It's like we gotta leave them on the plantation.
Yeah.
All right. Can we have the disagree step forward?
I'm gonna let the agrees go. I'm gonna let the disagrees go.
I would say that is an issue within the black community where they try to say you're not black because you sound a certain way. I think that's ridiculous. Like, we're black because we're black, right?
Agreed.
But yeah, like, I tune a lot of that stuff out. It's just if I can't use it to do something that will better my life, it does not matter to me. And I think because of that, I disconnect from a lot of black women and some black people because I don't like being a victim. I cannot be a victim. I'm like, what is the issue? Let's work on the issue. Yeah, it might be a little harder, but that's fine. You know, there's no growth without opposition. So it's like, let's just go.
Let me actually.
I agree. Come on, bro. I agree. We can go all day about, well, my parents didn't raise me how, my dad wasn't around, my mom wasn't around, my parents worked all the time. Bro, look, like nobody is dealt a perfect hand. Life ain't gonna always be perfect. I've never had a perfect life. Things don't work perfectly in the world that I'm in right now. And so you cannot be a victim to things that are going around you. Can you use it or can you not use it? Does it benefit you or does it not benefit you? If it doesn't benefit you and it doesn't suit to where you're headed and the vision that you have for your life, your family, your future, your friends, the things that you're interested in, then just move around it. But we cannot stay into the victim mentality of how things happen when they did, and then deem everybody to be, and then reprimand the whole black community for something that happened to you when you was upbringing. It's okay. And most of it in our black community, I agree with Bryson around. Yeah, you the colorism and the first comment he made. But what I wanted to say, a lot of times, like the black community, especially in certain urban communities, jokes are a part of our culture, especially the men, right? Me and my friends were constantly laughing, playing, cracking jokes. Today it's on me, tomorrow it's on my other friend, and the next week is gonna be on my other friend. That's the culture. That has been a part of my culture for a really long time and the black culture for a really long time. And for me, it's a part of it is like a camaraderie. Like it's how we bond. And so I respect all of the comments that they made around being judgmental, but I don't think we can. I think we gotta have tougher skin to be able to overcome some of the things that's just life. It's just life, right? Everybody not gonna like you. Everybody not gonna have your best interest. But then what do? Do you bow down to and say, well, they didn't have my back or they didn't support me, so I'm not gonna do anything that I want to go do? No, you just align yourself with those individuals that are on the path that you have set for yourself, and then you just move forward with them and don't worry about the people that don't care and don't align with the vision that you set for yourself. Because life get easier that way. But if you go trying to appease everybody and appease the general population of the black community on, I ain't see Friday, they gonna take my black card, man, beat it. No, I didn't go see Friday, and the jokes was funny, and I'm gonna go watch tomorrow, and I'm gonna go laugh at it. But I'm not gonna sit up here and victimize myself because somebody made a joke about something that happened to me, and I didn't know, I couldn't relate to it, right? And so, I agree with Bryson on this point, and I also do agree with we got to do better at the colorisms and the supporting the black community.
You all a question. Are people still telling you all, you talk white? Is that an experience that you're all experiencing now? Yeah, right now.
Absolutely.
Wow. I have the ability to code switch.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I can definitely, it's a switch for me. So I haven't had anyone say, oh, you talking white. It's more so like, you going somewhere. I've heard that my whole life from our community. I hate to use the word code switching because I know slang, but that's our language within the community. But outside of that, I am a very intelligent individual, so I know that I need to speak and not use Ebonics so that you'll be able to understand.
There you go. Diversify yourself, man. Diversify yourself. Know where you at, know who in the room, know who your audience is, and communicate appropriately.
Me. And I think that in itself outlines the fact that I feel more judged by those outside of my culture outside of our race than inside.
Walking around in society, I'm automatically judged by people who are not black because I'm black, and they have an expectation if I'm not dressed properly, if I don't carry myself a certain way. And I understand that, to your point, like I refuse to be a victim, so I'm going to like, okay, whatever it is, like I'm going to present myself the best way possible, so that I know I might be judged a little bit walking through the door, but at least I'm giving myself an opportunity. But yeah, I think black people, we always, at least we might give each other crap for like being different, but at least I feel like we always have each other, always. Most of the time, we have each other's back, I think, as black
I don't
people.
think so.
I don't think so.
I don't
I've-
think so. Especially not a black man with a black woman.
You don't think so?
No.
I agree. I agree there because I think that when black people at school said that I talked white, and especially with a British accent, it's even more like white. It was always more, like you said, it was kind of just like, we're in the community together. I feel like when the white people would say stuff, it was like the true attack. The girl, to an oversharing in this modern world, the girl that I lost my virginity to, white girl, and a few weeks after, she was asking my friend about me, and she was like, does he consider himself white or black? And then my friend was like, he's black. And she's like, oh, that's a shame because I'd only date a white guy, but at least I can tick a black guy off my list. And that's like my first ever like real sexual experience. When it was the black.
Yeah, that's trash. That's trash for sure.
Women in dating, saying you talk white, you're too middle class, whatever it is. Then that was just like, okay, yep, just we are different parts of the same community. When white women and other partners who would be like, you're not meeting my dad because he would never let me date a black guy, that felt like way more cutting.
In a sense, it's a fetish. And we have to be careful about that because as a black woman, you're a black man, I'm around black men. You're not a fetish for me because you are a part of my community. And so I disagree with for myself, my experiences, the black community has fully supported me. But I think when you expand outside of your, right in your face community, you'll realize that there are a lot of black women that are just rooting for black women because they're black. I mean, we can think about the election.
Yeah, I can definitely say environment because when I lived in Atlanta, it was nothing but like black support, black love, everybody's helping each other. You don't see too many black men with white women there.
I carry my parents' relationship patterns.
Introducing Iron Beam, a bright choice for futures trading. Iron Beam is an
So I just had a baby, he's 4 months, and I have a partner, we're in a relationship. But I do tell him often that my mom and my dad never married, and so marriage is not my top priority. Although I want to be married, it's not the end all be all. I think that some people are raised and they've seen their parents married, like I have to be married. I don't feel that way. And I do believe in healthy co-parenting. My parents were healthy co-parents. You would have thought they were brother and sister. So I do believe that if our relationship ends, I would be okay. I am open to being a co-parent.
So I'm in the middle with this one actually, but I was leaning more towards agree with the statement. I definitely learned unhealthy relationship habits from my parents, and they're actually the model. Hi, Mom and Dad. The model of a relationship that I am trying to avoid, and they're the reason why I know, like, your partner is sorry. After seeing how my parents' relationship was, I learned your partner is the number one choice, life-altering choice you can make in your life.
Absolutely.
With my family dynamic, it's just a little unique because the dad I call dad is my stepdad because my biological father is incarcerated. He's also black. So my stepdad I call dad has been in my life since I was 1. But so with that, I would say my father being black, my mom being white. Now that I'm an adult, I can see there was a power dynamic in their relationship. And like I mentioned, I did grow up on the white side of my family. I didn't know until I started dating how differently I had grown up from other kids. I talk back to my parents because that's what they do to me.
Call them names.
Yes. So when I got my first boyfriend, he was like, what in the hell are you doing? And I genuinely did not know.
Yeah, that's not allowed in a black family. not allowed, not one bit. Boy, you're gonna get your teeth knocked out. You're gonna wake up and it's gonna be next year. You can. That is not allowed. Not even close.
Oh, until I got into my first relationship, like, whoa, that's not healthy. You can't just be screaming at your partner all the time. That's not normal. And I thought that was normal because
Yeah.
that's what I grew up around.
I think mine is pretty much exactly that unlearning, because my parents, their relationship was at a very loud volume, and it was a lot of aggression, passive aggression. Like I got to see them like fall out of love to lead to their divorce, and my dad had my brother and sister from his first marriage, so like I think talking about inheriting patterns, I always like expected that I would have biological kids, step kids, adopted kids. I always have expected that every single relationship will at some point die and just you will never speak to that person again. So I think I've just inherited all of those patterns, like you, trying to unlearn them now. But that was like my whole childhood.
We might be half brother and sister. Don't go on Ancestry DNA.
I don't remember all the circumstances in which my parents got divorced. I don't remember. I know some of it, but I was pretty young back then. But what I do know is how much the divorce impacted me just growing up and not having my dad in the house for years. Like developmentally, I think just obviously my mom did a great job, right? You know, but as a single mom, there's only so much I think she could do. And having my dad in a different state a lot of the time, not having that male presence around really impacted my maturity, number one, my ability to be disciplined, I think. How I interacted with women in a lot of ways, I think, was impacted by not having that positive sort of male role model close in my life, involved in my life. And so I say this to say, like, I've followed the relationship model insofar as that I want to get married at some point. But after seeing how that happened, how that impacted me, that's why I view marriage so important and never want my kids to have to experience that. Like, I want to be in my child's life as much as humanly possible.
I definitely agree with what you're saying. So I know that it may have came off like, oh, we can be a co-parent today, but I don't feel that way. I just feel like most times when people get in these relationships and they have children out of wedlock, or they're married and they get a divorce, it's the end of the world. They don't want to work towards something better. They don't want to work for the betterment of the child. And so for me, that is the inherent view that I have, that the child is important. You have to put whatever you have aside and make sure that child is in the forefront. It can't be the end of the world for you. You can't hate this person because you created something so beautiful with them. But I do want to be married. I would love to marry my partner in this sense. But I think that my mom, this is something that I'm unlearning. My mom is the Black woman. I don't need a man. I pay the bills in here. But my dad would help. Regardless, he could have a woman, he could have a girlfriend, but he would help towards the household. He would help her if she needed anything. He was her first call. And so I think the way I view dating is that.
My mom left her whole family for men.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a house anywhere in the Metro Detroit area, including the blue areas on this map, here's
over and over again. So she put a man above all else. That's kind of how I carried myself in primary. Like the first relationships I had, I fully poured into them, not myself, because I was like, well, they're gonna take care of me. That's what my mom's doing.
Right. But I also want to know, why does the Black community not hold marriage to like a high standard?
Okay, Simone. Okay, Simone. Ask the magic question. Why don't the Black community hold marriage to a high standard? Let's get into it.
Had the most discrimination, racism, and when times were the worst for us back in the civil rights era, we were getting married at a much higher rate and staying together than we are now. And so that's why I was asking, like, how did it happen that from 50s and 60s, we ended up here to where things are regressing when things should be theoretically getting better because there's more access now?
I think back in those times, it was a necessity. As a woman, being married was almost close to a necessity because of all the things you couldn't do as a woman. I think that's why we have degressed in a sense, and I think that it should be held valuable, but it's not. It will never be the necessity that it once was.
To disagree, step forward.
We grew up with technology and stuff like that, so I've been shaped by so many other things and shows and experiences. I wouldn't say that it would be their relationship has shaped my relationship. I see a lot of issues that I know that I wouldn't want in my relationship if I were to get married. So I can't say that it does. No.
I probably should have agreed because I look at my parents' relationship and I learned like what not to do and what to do.
Right.
Like they raised me out of wedlock. They were never together once I was born. My dad was in my life, but honestly, I love him to death, but he's a piece of shit. Watching from how they were together, I'm doing the total opposite. I have to stick with my partner forever if we're gonna have a kid, no matter what.
Growing up, I have had other father figures, and I'd say even throughout those relationships, my mom has been consistent and she's always been very mindful of who she introduced to me. My mom never argued with anyone in front of me. She never had any disputes. So everything to me in the eyes of a child was perfect. And I feel like that is a very key and beautiful thing that a lot of people need to keep in mind and maintain.
I have a question for you guys.
This next package can record all your conversations with a single click of a button, which is why it goes.
So, because we're speaking about parents and dating habits, do you think you all levitate towards individuals who've had this same experience with their parents and the same dating habits? So, for example, if you grew up in a house with a single mom, do you think you levitate towards men who also had a single mom?
In my personal experience, especially with my mom having left when I was 16, I've struggled in my romantic relationships with my significant others' mothers every single time. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it was me unintentionally gravitating towards men who had a really close relationship with their mom. Like definitely have found myself struggling in those situations. Yeah.
Same as you. Maybe we are related.
Where's my dad?
I found that because my parents were screaming a lot of the time when I'm with people whose families are more like happy. I'm like, why are you guys happy? I hate it. How come I can never have this? And I'll self-destruct. I'll crash out. So I really struggle. I think I go for people that have had different experiences to how I was raised, but I tremendously struggle with that.
I think that what we're missing within the Black community is spaces like this. And so now they've created this space, and now this is on the TV of those who want to watch it. So it's up to us to advertise it.
All of our energy should be focused on going towards what our goal is as a community.
Right.
And then all the other extra stuff should just get put to the wayside for a second, so we can figure out where it is we want to be and get there together. I think that's kind of what we do. And having these conversations is how we figure out what those priorities are.
And there's people that's doing that, but unfortunately, this is just not popular.
Well, it's a mature message, and immaturity is really highlighted today and supported.
Yeah.
So it's a very mature message, and it's going to be niche in an odd way.
But we got to stop highlighting the negativity, or we see something good that's happening in the Black community. Let's share it. Let's spread the message, not just spew hatred.
We can't rely on the media, who's not controlled by Black people mainly, to do the job for us. That has to be something we do together.
You have to take it to them. You have to meet them where they are.
Overall, I think this was a great conversation. It helps me to understand the rest of the world, right? Because here I am in my own little bubble thinking that everybody conducts themselves a certain kind of way and they think a certain kind of way. And I'm not privy to the different experiences that are out there with people. I had a mother and a father. I don't know the experience of just only having one parent. I don't know the experience of losing a sister. I don't have any brothers. So I'm just, I hope that this video, when you're watching it, you can just pick up on perspectives and understand that, it's going to be very challenging to generalize people. And the best way to get to, and the best way to move forward in life is to understand that person at the true essence of who they are, which means that you got to be a better communicator. You got to ask the tough questions. You got to ask the challenging questions. And we cannot be a victim to to the things that happen to us in life, because guess what? We all got problems and we all going through something. And if you're gonna be a victim, then that basically means you giving up. So we can't give up. We got to keep pushing forward. The only thing I wish, and I'm not gonna put this on the people in the audience, is that we incorporate God more into our lives than the tangible things that God has provided to us. Because let's be clear, everything that we have, everything that we will have, this body, this soul has been given to us by our Creator, and we must honor and be more aware of that. And so we should be mindful when we speak about things as if we have control over them, because we didn't bring ourselves here, and He gonna take us out as well too. So in all, I love the Jubilee series. I love the Surround series. Keep watching. I'll do another react video. Peace and love, y'all.